In my previous video about whether Thai is easy or difficult, I mentioned that everyday spoken Thai and signs and menus, although not particularly easy, they're not particularly difficult either, and that level is quite achievable. However, when you go onto books and magazines and newspapers, there's a huge jump, and there are two reasons for that. The first is the sentence structure. It's possible to know the meaning of every word in a sentence, but still not understand the meaning of the sentence. And secondly, when Thais commit anything to print, they use formal vocabulary. So although you may have learnt a lot of informal vocabulary in your everyday speaking, when you read something, you encounter a lot of vocabulary that you don't know. The only way to make that jump is to practice, and you need to find practice material. Now, the problem with textbooks is they tend to be quite boring, and if you're trying to learn a very difficult subject and you're using material that is boring, it really makes it hard work. So what I've done over the years is bought books that I either find interesting or I find amusing, and I find that's a much better way to learn than just delving into textbooks. This book about herbs falls into the category of interesting, and there are three strands in Thai traditional medicine. There's massage to keep the musculoskeletal system in tune. There's meditation for the mind and mental health, and there's herbal medicine to fight disease, and this one's all about herbal medicine. As I mentioned before, Thais are very superstitious, and they take stuff like this very, very seriously. This one's called Dreams Tell the Future. In the amusing category are books like this. Thai girls tend to be quite sentimental and romantic, and if you're a man chasing Thai females, little things like this can actually get you quite a long way. I also find books like this quite amusing. There's nothing too crude. The level is about the same as British seaside postcard humour. Just as something a bit different in this video, I thought I'd go through a few of these jokes, and it will illustrate what I'm saying about formal written Thai, and it will help you make the jump from signs and menus and informal spoken Thai to written Thai, which, as I said previously, is quite a big jump. Here's the first one, and before I completely mangle the pronunciation, first listen to a native speaker.
สตรีคือปีศาจผู้หญิงเท่ากับเวลาบวกเงินเวลาเท่ากับเงินเพราะฉะนั้นผู้หญิงเท่ากับเงินบวกเงินเท่ากับเงินยกกำลังสองเงินเท่ากับปีศาจซอตอพอจุดผู้หญิงเท่ากับปีศาจยกกำลังสอง
Now let's go through it, and straight away we see a formal word, satri. This is the formal word for women, females, and 99.9% of the time you're going to see the word puying for women or females. You very rarely see this word. As I say, when something is written, they normally use formal language, and you will see all the formal vocabulary. So satri, women, ku is verb to be, and pisat is devil. So women are devils. And then go below. So puying, that's the informal word for females. Equal sign, talgup. Wela, time, buak, which is plus, ngern, money. So women equal time plus money. Wela talgup ngern. So time equals money. Prachanan, therefore. Puying, females, equals money plus money. Ngern buak ngern. And here the maths falls down slightly, but that's not the point of the joke. So it's got money in brackets, ngern, yok gamlang, which is like to raise. But if one money was raised by the power of two, it would still be one. But that's not really the joke. So Girls are money plus money. And underneath, money equals the devil. Ngung tau gap pisad. Soto bo. I've never seen this before. Apparently it's the Thai version of QED, the Latin quod erat demonstradum, which is proof of my argument. Puying, girls, equal Bisa Yok Gamlang. So women are the raising of the devil, times 2. It's a bit misogynistic, but this is just practice for reading Thai, so please don't anyone take offence. And let's listen to the native speaker version one more time.
สตรีคือปีศาจผู้หญิงเท่ากับเวลาบวกเงินเวลาเท่ากับเงินเพราะฉะนั้นผู้หญิงเท่ากับเงินบวกเงินเท่ากับเงินยกกำลังสองเงินเท่ากับปีศาจซอตอพอจุดผู้หญิงเท่ากับปีศาจยกกำลังสอง
Here's the second joke, and first let's listen to the native speaker version.
ใครรวยกว่ากันปุจฉาทำไมโสเภณีจึงรวยกว่าพ่อค้าขายยาบ้าวิสัชนาเพราะโสเภณีสามารถล้างสินค้าแล้วนำมาขายใหม่ได้อีก
Cry, who, ruai, rich, and gua as a suffix is like the er suffix in English. So ruai, rich, ruai, gua, richer. So who's richer? Gan just means together. And this word here must be a formal word, so I don't know it. Butcha means question. And the word I normally see is kamtam, but I guess that must be the informal version. So tamai, why? Sopani is a prostitute. Jung, apparently that can mean therefore, then, consequently, or accordingly. Ruai gua, richer. Porka. Porka is a male vendor, and merka will be a female vendor. Kai, sell. Yaba. Yaba is methamphetamine. It actually means ya, which is medicine, ba, crazy drug. So the question is, why are prostitutes richer than men who sell methamphetamine? And people who do that, although it's illegal, normally make a lot of money. And here's the answer. So this word here is the formal word for answer. Witsat chana. There's an implied vowel in there. And the word I'm more familiar with for answer is kamtop. But say this must be the formal word. Pro, because. Sopani, prostitute. Sama, this is ability, or has ability. Lang, wash. Sinkar means product, merchandise, goods. Let, and. Nam is bring, ma, come. Kai, sell, my, new. Buy, can, eat, again. So this is what I was saying about having a lot of words that you can translate and still having problems understanding the meanings of the sentence. But what it basically means is because a prostitute has the ability to wash the merchandise to make it new again. And I'll let you listen to the native speaker version one more time.
ใครรวยกว่ากันปุจฉาทำไมโสเภณีจึงรวยกว่าพ่อค้าขายยาบ้าวิสัชนาเพราะโสเภณีสามารถล้างสินค้าแล้วนำมาขายใหม่ได้อีก
The third and final one involves red ants, and for those of you not familiar with red ants, They're found in Thailand anywhere where there's some grass and trees. And the first thing you know about them normally is when you feel a stinging sensation on your leg and you look down and you find them climbing up your legs and biting. And they've got some really fierce mandibles and they're quite aggressive and they're really not nice to encounter. First, let's listen to the native speaker version.
ขอบคุณมดแดงคืนหนึ่งหลังจากกามกรีฑาอันดุเดือดผ่านพ้นไปนกหญิงหันมาถามนกชายว่าที่รักทำไมคืนนี้น้องคุณดูใหญ่จังจนฉันคับตื้อไปหมดเลยนกชายตอบว่าอ๋อพอดีผมไปเดินเล่นในสวนเลยถูกมดแดงไต่เข้าไปกัดชาไปหมดเลยรุ่งขึ้นนกชายเห็นนกหญิงถือตลับไปเก็บมดแดงในสวนมาเลี้ยงไว้ในห้องนอนทันที
One of the difficulties that I didn't mention earlier is that Thai is quite idiomatic. It's the same as English, really. So when you're reading, there'll be quite a few idioms and euphemisms. And this little story is a good example of that because there's quite a few in here. The title is Khop Kun, thank you. Mod, ant, dang, red. Thank you, red ants. Kun, night. Nung, one. So one night. Lang jak, which is after. Gam, erotic. And grita, athletics. So erotic athletics. I don't think I need to explain what that is. Andu, fierce. Duat, heat. Pan by, pass through. A fierce heat passed through. I think it passed through the girl because she looks quite flushed in the photo. And here we have an idiom, nok ying. It sort of means female bird, but I think it means the female in a sort of loving relationship like this. Han ma, she turned tam and asked nok chai. This is the male bird. Wa. Thais normally say, tam wa, she asked that. This is the second part, and I had a few problems translating this. And the first part is tirak. And lots of foreigners in Thailand know this word, and they normally translate it as darling, which is, the meaning is a sort of decent translation, but the actual translation is ti, which is a relative pronoun, so who, rak, love, so who I love, the person who I love. Tamai, why? Kun, night. Ni, this. Why tonight? And now we've got another idiom. Nong is the term of address for a younger person. And nu is mouse. Kong, which is like belongs to kun, you. The little mouse that belongs to you. And I don't want to get too explicit, but it's an idiom for part of the man's body. Yai, big. Jang is like mark, like very. So, darling, why tonight was your little mouse so big? And the following part I had problems translating. John apparently is until. Chan is the personal pronoun that she uses, like for herself. Cup is tight. And this word, looking in my dictionary, there are lots of different English meanings, and they're not similar. So it can mean doles, be befuddled, be slow, overused, be stupid, be dull, be obscure, be confused, extremely, utterly, very, leaden. This is another problem with translating Thai. You get one word, and there's lots of English possibilities, and they're not even similar. Turbai, mot lei, like depleted completely. So I find it difficult to translate this directly, but I sort of get the meaning, the way she feels, and she's asking him why part of his body was so big. Here's the third part. and this little story has caused me all sorts of problems. So, oi, that's just a sort of exclamation sound. Pori. Now, por means enough, and di is good. So we'd normally use pori if something was just enough. So if you try on an article of clothing and it fits just nicely, it's pori. Or if you get food and there's just enough, pori. So I'm not really sure of the meaning in this context. Pom, that's the male personal pronoun, I. Bydern, bydern len, go for a walk. And dern means walk. Len is play. So a play walk is like a stroll. And when Thais eat, they normally use the informal word gin to eat. But when they gin len, if they like play eat, it's like having a snack. So len sort of makes the meaning of the word a bit more light-hearted. Naisuan, in the garden. So he went for a walk in the garden. Lei is another word that we can't really translate. It just adds emphasis and meaning. Took, all, every. Mod dang, ant red. Every red ant. Die, climb. Now the word I'm familiar with for climb is bean, but they use a different word here. Cow, enter, by gut. So he went for a walk in the garden and every red ant climbed up his leg, entered his trousers and bit him. Now the next part I also had a problem with. Cha, when you look it up in a translator, it says tea, but there are two meanings. So ya cha, which is like tea medicine, actually means anesthetic. So what this part means, cha by motley, means that he was completely numb after the ants bit him. And finally, here's the punchline. So rungkun, the next day, nok chai, the male, hen. There's no verb conjugation in Thai, so hen is see or saw or seen. Nok ying, that the man saw the woman. Tu, carry. Talap, and talap is a really unusual word. It took me a while to find it. It just means a small box. By gep, go collect. Motang, red ants. So he saw her carrying this small box and going to collect red ants. Naisuan, in the garden. Ma liang. Liang is like to take care of animals. So animal is sat, and sat liang is an animal that you take care of, or a pet. Why? We normally use get and why together, like to just to keep. Nai, in, hong non, in the bedroom. Tanti, immediately. And let's listen to the native speaker version again.
ขอบคุณมดแดง คืนหนึ่งหลังจากกามกรีธาอันดุเดือดผ่านพ้นไป นกหญิงหันมาถามนกชายว่า ที่รัก ทำไมคืนนี้น้องคุณดูใหญ่จัง จนฉันคับตื้อไปหมดเลย นกชายตอบว่า อ๋อ พอดีผมไปเดินเล่นในสวน เลยถูกมดแดงไต่เข้าไปกัด ชาไปหมดเลย รุ่งขึ้น นกชายเห็นนกหญิง ถือตลับ ไปเก็บมดแดงในสวนมาเลี้ยงไว้ในห้องนอนทันที
Not particularly funny, I know, and I really hope that this material hasn't offended anyone. That certainly wasn't the intention. The intention was just to get some reading practice that was a bit more light-hearted and not as boring as standard textbooks. Let me know what you think of this type of material. Was it useful to you or not? If you have any comments or questions, leave them below. Indeed, if you have any better translations, let me know. As I said, I had problems translating certain parts of this, so if you have a better version, I'm always open to suggestions. Thanks for watching again, and hopefully there will be another video fairly soon.